How's everybody doing? Okay, we're gonna jump right in and talk about part two of Sagittarius and Pisces, and we have a lot to cover. A lot to cover, so we're gonna jump right in. Okay, now I mentioned about the intimacy between dealing with the Pisces woman and the Pisces man. Now, like I said, when it comes to this relationship, the main reason why their sexual relationship really comes true is because of the overthinking that can occur with both partners. Sagittarius will wait for a grand emotion, grand gesture, or any sort of passionate initiative from Pisces, which won't be hard for Pisces to do. Okay? While Pisces will wait for all of the Pisces, all of the pieces of the puzzle to fit in their perfect position and in most cases neither of these things will happen and they won't move further from a platonic relationship because both signs are extremely guarded, so they're not going to expose each other, not initially. They're going to gingerly walk side by side and they're going to test each other. It's a possibility that with this combination, you might come across with something truly wonderful, truly beautiful. But because you are afraid of being vulnerable and being hurt, both the Sagittarian man and the Pisces woman, they are not going to be emotionally honest. And this is a problem. This is the potential threat with this combination, that there may not be room for trust because they're bringing with them their perspective backgrounds, which will not always be very, very healthy, especially when it comes to Pisces. The Pisces female will have sexual trauma with her that she will not discuss or talk about. The Sagittarian man will have caused trauma to a lot of women that he has broken their hearts by walking away from them once he gets his fill. You know, Sagittarius is the Don Juan of the zodiac. You know, the one with his dick in his hand and ready to fuck. You know, pan. No, like Capricorn. You know, but that devilishness of the sexiness of Capricorn begins in Scorpio. It reaches a peak in Sagittarius and culminates in Capricorn, the devil. So understand that there's a progression, even with human sexuality, throughout the signs. So when it comes to Sagittarius, he comes from a background of broken hearts that he has caused, while the Pisces woman is the recipient of many broken hearts by many suitors who have let this woman down. So, if that's the feel bad in which these two people are coming together, it's the feel bad of the past, but it's not the premise that brought them together. What brought them together was the instant attraction that they felt for each other. And that is what sets the tone for the relationship. It is a relationship of lust, desire, and wanton beauty. Okay? So, already we're coming into this relationship dynamic with a poor sense of expectations of what's required of each other. Yeah? Oh, yes. What do we do? What can we do? The honeymoon begins right away. And it is blissful. Oh, an example of true human beauty when this combination gets together. It is true human beauty. Pisces is beautiful, mystical, enigmatic, alluring. It is the ultimate of the feminine mystique, like we see it with the moon in Cancer. Okay, so we see the same euphoric feeling and energy, and even euphemism in Pisces. The Pisces woman is magical, enchanting. She's a spell caster. Her her energy and her company, everything about her is spellbounding. Now let's flip it and let's talk about the Pisces man and the Sagittarian woman. Wow. Who's the boss? Who's the boss? The boss in this instant will be the Sagittarian woman. Because the Pisces man below and above 30 is a fucking hot mess. A hot mess. I'm sorry, Mr. Pisces. But let's call a spade a spade. You could be a hot mess. You don't tell people anything. You do what you want. You treat people how you want. You go in and out of relationship. You are miserably unfaithful. You can't keep it in your pants. We're talking about the evolved and the unevolved Pisces. Okay? Pisces, like Scorpio, can be diabolically secretive. And you don't know what's going on from one hand with the other with Pisces. With Pisces, you have to resort yourself to love him as he is. Even with all the darkness and secrecy that comes with it. Because you will never know it. You will never know the secrets of Pisces. Above the man and the woman. So you're already at a disadvantage. Because Pisces is just ain't gonna open himself to you like that. He doesn't do within the constructs of his own self, let alone he's going to do it for somebody else. That is just not who he is. And depending on the moral fabric of this man and his background and all other things being equal, that right there will let you know just the level of evolution that he's in. And even with all of that being said, he can still fuck up on you with no apparent reason. Like Gemini, he's taken by the wind and taken by the ethers of the winds and the spirits and the gods of air. Well, so too is Pisces, taken by the rip currents of the ocean and driven out into the open oceans, out into the world of the gods of water. And God knows if you ever see him again. Or Gemini. So, I don't know about you, but for me, that doesn't lend for a classical commitment of any kind when we're dealing with interpersonal relationships. Now, maybe in the Aquarian age, where society and the incoming age will be more impersonal, more emotionally detached, and kind of like the Borg of Star Trek, we see ourselves in a society that's going to be kind of aseptic, clinical. I do see that. Where humanity and human feeling and sentiment will be put to the side. Because Aquarius is as impersonal as they come. This is the psychology and vibration that's going to herald the Aquarian age in the next 2,500 years to go. Because we've already started the Aquarian age. So we're going to see a lot more impersonality and human detachment and lack of empathy and intimacy on a true communal level. This will be wonderful and a great keeping with Sagittarius and Aquarius, who don't require that much interpersonal intimacy or interrelationship. And it's not because they are socially inept or because they can't do it. It is just not within their construct or makeup. Sagittarius transcends Libra, which is the seventh sign. Well, we do care about relationships and forming relationships, both personal and interpersonal. That dies in Aquarius, especially begins to die in Sagittarius. And by the time you reach Aquarius, it is completely dead. Dead. Relationships to Aquarians is a means to an end, especially when we're dealing with the male. This begins in Sagittarius. Pisces brings us the opposite of that polarity, where it wants union and involvement and interpersonal exchange of ideas and language. The Pisces man will be willing to do that. But will the Pisces woman listen? And flipping it as the Pisces man with the Sagittarian woman, the Sagittarian woman will tear a new one to Mr. Pisces if he thinks that he's going to get away with some of the shit that he pulls with other women. He's going to have a real hard time with the horse who can stomp him right there in the water and kill the fish with one stomp. And that is the nature of what can go on with this combination between Pisces and Sagittarius. Whether we're dealing with the female as Pisces with a Sagittarian man, or the Sagittarian woman with a Pisces man. Okay? And because of this, we have to now enter the issue of trust. Okay? It will be very difficult for the Sagittarius and Pisces to trust each other, but they will probably accept it as a perfectly normal thing, though. At least they're going to fool themselves and convince themselves that that's what it is. See, this is the element of Jupiter at play. Everything makes sense and everything fits when it comes to Sagittarius and any kind of interpersonal relationship that they may engage themselves in. Sagittarius is a partner who is too passionate and loves to have a lot of options when it comes to relationships. It is truly the epitome of the commune and polygamy. Yeah? Sagittarius rules that, believe it or not. Ha! Really? Sagittarius is as paradoxical as Pisces can be. Remember, the classical co-ruler of Pisces is Jupiter. Before Neptune was discovered in 1781, thereabouts, I forget now. Jupiter was the co-ruler or the classical ruler of Pisces. But since Neptune was discovered, it has been ascribed to Pisces. So there is a compatibility and a similarity between Pisces and Sagittarius. But it's not enough for us astrologers to award it a compatibility of signs. No. For that, we have to count it incompatible. Because the level of trust between these two signs is unbelievable. It is just unbelievable. The level of trust is almost non-existent. And if it is existent, you better be worried. The Sagittarian woman will tend to be faithful and honest and dignified. The problem, you guessed it, will be with the fucking Pisces man who can't keep it in his fucking pants and is driven helplessly by his own inner and lower passions, which will rule not only his head below, but his head up here, both past and below age 30. And you know, but the Pisces man comes in all kinds of ways and forms and styles. You know, for this combination to work, there has to be a level of trust that is like glue. And I really don't believe that that is the history of this combination. It's just not. It's not within the history of this combination. No, Pisces is not known for being faithful and being committed. But then again, we can say the same thing about Sagittarius. Sagittarius doesn't figure any better. Sagittarius doesn't figure any better. Sagittarius has trust issues, and it's a sign that because he also can be, because he's so sexually ready and so sexually excited. Talking about the Sagittarian male now. He also may have a problem keeping it in his pants. And if it's not an issue of sex, it becomes an issue of freedom and movement. Both Pisces and Sagittarians love their freedom, but Pisces is willing to sacrifice that freedom. Sag, fuck you, is what he will say. He won't compromise his freedom, even if a relationship requires a commitment that can transcend death. That terrifies the Sagittarian, because that means a certain level of freedom has to be surrendered in order to have that level of trust and commitment with a partner that can last a lifetime. Sagittarius has an issue with that. What the fuck are we gonna do? With that being said, no, we can develop a level of trust in the relationship where both parties are transparent to each other, with each other. You understand that it is very rare to respect someone and deal with someone that lacks strength in making decisions to win people over. Pisces, on the other hand, will be too sensitive while trying to show their imaginary strength. They could end up following their Sagittarius partner in adventures they are not ready for. Sad because of the lack of emotional understanding from their partner and ready to open up to someone else. If you find yourself in a relationship like that, then your partner doesn't love you or your partner is insensitive to your emotional needs. Pisces cannot be pushed, cannot be coerced. But Pisces is so impressionable, and the Don Juan of the zodiac is so irresistible. You can't resist him or her, and this can lead Pisces into troubled waters, especially if we're dealing with a Sagittarian that is of lower nature, that can possibly bring harm to the poor Pisces girl. So the Pisces woman, thank God, has enough perceptive intelligence and intuitive intelligence to know what's good for her and what's not good for her. Despite the fact that she will still do it. Despite the fact that it's not good for her. This is the nature of Pisces. It is as paradoxical as Gemini. Yeah. They could end up following, well, regardless, let me say this. Regardless of the purpose of each little thing that they do, they will often have twisted expectations from each other, and this will lead to unintentional dishonesty because they're speaking in different wavelengths. So therefore, they miscue each other, and some of it could be by design too, on both sides. So the level of trust with this combination is like, you know, not really very good. Now, if we look at another aspect of this relationship, the communication and the intellect, okay, then we have to see it from another point of view. When we rule out emotional and physical sides of a relationship, a Sagittarius and a Pisces partner will be best friends, almost inseparable for a while. There is no way to determine how long their relationship will last, though. And unless supported by fixed signs in their personal charts, they will rarely stay in for the long haul. For the reasons that I had described above, It has to be long lasting. This combination, in order for it to work, it has to be, you have to already have in your head that it's going to be short lived. This is not one of these combinations where you're in it for the long haul. No. There is no way to determine how long the relationship will last. You know? They can become bored with each other, or use up all of their resources that they both have to offer, and then there's nothing else to build on, because what brought them together might have been infatuation or lust, and nothing meaningful that can lay a foundation for which the relationship can build and grow from. Understand that this is not going to occur below age 30. Well, the level of immaturity is still very great. This is more possible, more plausible when we go into past age 30. In time, they will realize what the differences are in the most unusual way. Sagittarius is a sign of convictions and will be more rational and reliable than their Pisces partner. At some point, Sagittarius will start to form a distance because of expectations that haven't been met, and the irresponsible, detached behavior of their Pisces partner. But what the Sagittarian doesn't understand is that they could be like that too. So then Pisces is doing his job and acting as the mirror, showing you, look, bitch, if I'm a bitch, you're just as much a bitch as I am. Because I'm Pisces, I'm the mirror. This is who you are. So the same complaint that Pisces can bring about Sagittarius, or Sagittarius with Pisces, is the same, and it's relative. Okay? In return, though, Pisces will have a simple feeling that this is no longer where they want to be. Both of them might never understand why, though. But they will simply separate with no ill intentions and probably not much anger or hurt. Because you have to understand that it's not the personality or the ego that's speaking to you. It is the soul. The soul, on a soul level, you're being guided and directed. It says in the Bible, the Lord, man knows what he wants, but the Lord shall direct your steps. That's in the Bible. So at the end of the day, regardless of what we want or what we think we want, things are guided by the universe. And both, you have to understand that both the universe and God, both Pisces and Sagittarius are universal signs, cosmic signs. So the personalities are being directed and driven and guided by the soul. And remember, what did I say? The soul is God. The soul is God. Okay? So understand. How can I put it? Pisces will have a simple feeling, like I mentioned. And they can be friends and part and not think a word about it. Okay? Emotionally, the relationship will be an emotional roller coaster for both partners, but it will rarely last very long either. Whatever the circumstances, it is important for both of them to remember that there is nothing superficial about this contact. The learning process and the beauty of their entire relationship shouldn't be forgotten, but it kept as a base for all of their future relationships. Because the Sagittarian and Pisces relationship is probably the most healthiest relationship that each of these partners have had or have experienced. And in this instance, it is beautiful and positive to look at this combination as a stepping stone towards learning how to relate to another human being. Pisces becomes the learning school, and so does Sagittarius, but on different ends of the pole. So therefore, this combination is quixotic. It's beautiful. It's complex. But one thing that I got to say when we're dealing with this combination is that it is not long lasting. And for those relationships where this combination is long lasting, then that is a karmic beauty that comes from other lifetimes. Okay? And we're done with this combination.